As were a lot of kids my age, my childhood was created through television. Every day after school, I would go home and pull up some of my favorite channels like YTV, the Family Channel, Teletoon, etc. I'm Canadian in case you couldn't tell. I watched all the great cartoons, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Spliced, all the bangers. But there was something that caught my attention when it was first announced. While going through my usual binge of Teletoon, there was an advertisement for a brand new channel called Teletoon Retro.
Come on and join us!
This seems interesting to me. A brand new channel focused entirely on classic cartoons like Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera. I like Looney Tunes, might as well. I waited till it came on, and then, on October 1st, 2007, everything changed. Changed in the fact that I'm now nostalgic for cartoons other people are nostalgic for. Who would have thought? So today I'm going to be focusing on one of my favorite TV channels as a kid, which ran from 2007 to 2015. In case any American viewers are confused as to what I'm talking about, I'm basically talking about the Canadian version of Boomerang for Cartoon Network. Unlike Boomerang, which is still running to this day, Teletoon Retro is but a memory in people's eyes, going off the air and not having a subsidiary as of recording this in 2021. The channel ran a lot of content, mostly from the Warner Brothers, Turner, and whatever thing Canadians had in their basement catalog, and I'm planning on reviewing every single show they broadcasted that I could find. Well, anything off the Wikipedia list. This is basically my excuse to talk about classic cartoons that shaped a lot of my childhood. So let's start with the first one that I not only watched the most, but was the material they played the most on the channel. Looney Tunes is great. You know it, I know it, we all know it. The animation, the comedic timing, the characters, all of it is just completely timeless. You can show kids today a lot of these cartoons and they'd still find them just as funny as they were back in the 40s and 50s. With that being said, what cartoons were shown on Teletoon Retro to begin with? Well, it's kind of complicated. I got my start with Looney Tunes on the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show, which was a rerun of a compilation of classic cartoons originally broadcasted in the 80s and 90s. Funny enough, the first time I saw it was not on Teletoon Retro, but on Teletoon itself. When I was a kid, they broadcasted Bugs Bunny and Tweety show at around 8 p.m., right when all the popular cartoons were shown and we were about to transition to Teletoon at night, which was basically Adult Swim for Canadian folk. As a kid, I was really scared to watch Teletoon at night because I had no idea what they were going to broadcast, and I thought it was going to be super inappropriate, not knowing it was just a bunch of reruns of Family Guy and Futurama. So when I was watching the show and I saw the end credits show up, I got so scared that I would turn off the TV and run all the way back to my room. This was before I knew what pre-recording was. Anyways, I loved the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show, and it was the show that got me into Looney Tunes. But it had one flaw. For some reason, when this show was originally broadcasted, many cartoons were censored because of the violence. So at some points when you see someone get bashed on the head or explode continuously from a gunshot or cannon blast, it would either cut the scene down or cut to a reaction of one of the other characters reacting to the violence.
I'll keel-haul you for this!
Yoo-hoo, Mr. Pirate! Oh, Redbeard!
I'll keel-haul you for this!
Oh, Redbeard!
I hate myself!
It was really weird. I get if you want to trim some of it down for time, but why? Other than that, I loved the show, and it was what kept me going back to the channel because it was something I would watch all the time. But it wasn't just that show that kept bringing me back to the channel. There was also the Merry Melody show, which ran in the early to mid 70s. This is a weird one because it's the same as the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show, where it's an anthology of classic cartoons, but instead of showing a random variety of them in an hour-long runtime, this time it was only 30 minutes with 3 cartoons being broadcasted. And not just that, the episodes were based around Daffy, Sylvester, and Speedy.
The Merry Melody Show, starring Speedy Gonzales, Sylvester, and the one and only Daffy Duck. It's Merry Melody's time.
Odd collection of characters, but okay. I still watch this show here and there, but not nearly as much as the previous one. Mostly because a lot of the cartoons didn't interest me as much as the others. And then there was Looney Tunes. Yep. just Looney Tunes, where they would play whatever cartoon they felt like in a 15-minute time span. Now with all that being said, what were some of my favorite cartoons that they showed on the channel? I'm glad you asked, because I'm compiled them all into a list. Garrett's top 10 totally just my opinion and not forgetting cartoons because there's so many of them favorite Looney Tunes cartoons. Number 10, High Diving Hare. Bugs is the runner of a talent show and is presenting a high diving act for a guy named Fearless Freep. When he has to cancel the act, Yosemite Sam freaks out and tells Bugs to go off the plank. This is basically just the same joke over and over again, Bugs tricking Sam to fall off the plank. But damn, if that one joke ain't funny.
This time you're a diamond.
Number 9, A Pest in the House. Daffy works at a hotel where Elmer Fudd is the head of. A sporadically angry dude is looking to stay there to go to bed, but Daffy does everything in his power to make sure that isn't the case. A lot of great physical comedy, and the angry guy who keeps coming back to punch Elmer in the face used to scare the absolute crap out of me. Great stuff.
Because if I'm disturbed at any time, I'm gonna bust you right in the nose!
Number 8, Baseball Bugs. Bugs Bunny is forced into being a one-man team against a group of baseball players looking to humiliate him in a simple game of ball. This one's higher up on the list because this has some of my favorite comedy bits in any Looney Tunes cartoon.
Baseball fan. Oh, there goes a screaming liner into left field.
And I'm always a sucker for baseball-themed episodes, even though I don't care about the sport personally.
You're out! I'm out!
That's what the man said. You heard what he said. He said that.
Number 7, Fast and Furious. No, this has nothing to do with the franchise where people do kung fu with cars. This is the first iteration of the classic battle between the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote,
Meep, meep.
with a lot of gags that will forever be remembered in pop culture. And it's my personal favorite of the confrontation.
Meep, meep.
Number 6,
Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
Daffy tries to take over the Planet X in a futuristic world similar to the classic Flash Gordon serials. Marvin the Martian plans on taking the planet and the two duke it out in a series of gags.
And brother, when it disintegrates, it disintegrates.
A lot of everything that makes Looney Tunes great, a lot of creativity and great visual humor. Plus this is how I love Daffy, thinking he's cunning and smart, but is ultimately the biggest doofus of the cast and always gets the worst treatment. Number 5, Rabbit Seasoning, the first part of the Hunting trilogy, which includes this, Rabbit Fire, and Duck Rabbit Duck. It's easily the best of the trilogy and the most iconic. The bit with Daffy asking Elmer to shoot Bugs Bunny is one of the most defining examples of Looney Tunes comedy, and it's one of the most famous pieces of animation ever, so it has to be on the list.
I demand that you shoot me now.
Number 4, Long-Haired Hare, another iconic one not to be confused with High Diving Hare from before, and another one starring Bugs Bunny. It has the same format as a lot of the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Bugs gets messed with an opera singer who's trying to prepare for a concert. Bugs takes it personally and goes on a rampage trying to ruin this man's night as much as he humanly can. It's definitely one of the funniest cartoons created by Chuck Jones. The bit at the beginning where the opera singer keeps beating up Bugs after he keeps bringing out a new musical instrument had me rolling on the floor as a kid. Also, Jesus Christ, Bugs just straight up kills a man. Like legit, I'm not kidding, this man is straight up dead. Number 3, Rabbit of Seville. This one's special because the whole thing is done with next to no dialogue. Elmer and Bugs accidentally stumble upon a stage of the musical Barber of Seville, of which they reenact the whole set while Bugs tries to avoid getting shot by Elmer. And man, if it isn't close to perfection, all the bits, the use of music, and on how the story is told, it's some of the best animation has to offer. Number 2, One Froggy Evening. A lot of people consider this as one of, if not the best Looney Tunes cartoon of all time. And honestly, I'm gonna have to agree with this. A man discovers a frog that has the ability to sing and dance. Seeing an opportunity to make money off of this, he tries showing buyers and people on the street the gift that this frog gives. But every time he shows him off, the frog does nothing, ruining his life in the process.
Bobby, when I'm gone. Oh, honey, though our friendship ceases from now on,
This is definitely one of the darkest cartoons in the Looney Tunes catalog, but it's also one of the most brilliant, and the lead guy, without saying anything, makes him one of the most sympathetic characters. It's all around a great cartoon and it's one you should definitely check out. And number one, the one that I personally consider the greatest, Duck Amuck. Daffy conflicts with the animators to figure out what cartoon this is supposed to be, as the animator makes random scenarios that initiate one wacky scenario after another.
Give me a close-up! A close-up! This is a close-up? A close-up, you jerk! A close-up!
Everything you love about Looney Tunes, this has. Great timing, great comedy, really creative visually. It's just all around a great short, packing so much into a 7-minute runtime. You can show this to any kid no matter what kind of cartoons they're into, and I think they'll still find this funny. With its incredibly fast pace and quick sense of humor, I couldn't recommend it enough.
All right, let's get this picture started.